this is actually the first ever synthCity podcast. It would be.
Well, I'm honored to be the first.
For those of you who don't know, Joe is an award-winning creator of Syntorial, the interactive synthesizer training application. Before that, well, I guess in addition to all of that, he has been a producer and working in the music industry for the better part of 2 decades, 20 years. Thank you very much for coming today. To start with, Joe, I want to just get a bit of an understanding of like where you started out. Just as a person, I know America is quite large in terms of like different states and everything. Which part of the country are you from?
Michigan, which is like it's the mitten at the top with the Great Lakes around it.
Mitten? Is that Michigan? How you describe it? Yeah, like a mitten?
So I grew up right outside Detroit, which I'm sure you've heard of.
I know of Detroit. I have heard that I've seen jokes about, Detroit before an alien invasion is like smoke and fire, and Detroit after an alien invasion is still the same thing. Like,
yeah,
hey,
that's about right. I grew up in a little like Pleasantville style suburb outside of Detroit.
Yeah.
So it was a bit different than that Detroit, but that's kind of how people know where I'm from because everyone's heard of Detroit.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Is that area quite musical then?
I mean, Detroit's got quite a history. You know, you go back to Motown being its most famous.
I have heard of Motown funk. That's something that rings a bell to me. Is it Motown?
Yeah, you've heard it, like, Berry Gordy Motown label, and just all the greats, like Stevie Wonder, that whole era.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys came out of Detroit or recorded.
Okay. Okay. This is news to me. This is a whole cultural exchange.
And then techno started in Detroit as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought techno was European.
I always get a little confused, but it's either a specific part of techno.
Yeah.
Or techno itself. I thought techno itself, that subgenre was born in Detroit. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that's the case.
That's crazy. I'm going to Google that.
Yeah, so it's got a rich music history.
Yeah. And in that case, starting off then as a child, is that what you found drew you towards music? Was it from external influences that you had around you, or was it just more of came from within, or heck, even a mix?
Yeah, it's probably more like internal, because like I said, I grew up in this little suburb, which is sort of, it was real sort of sheltered, if you will. It's just like a nice little pleasant suburb. So I wasn't really influenced by Detroit directly until I was older. So I was old enough to go to Detroit, So it was more just like, my sister played piano, so there's always someone playing piano in the house. And my dad was always playing Motown music, so I guess through him, Detroit would get in to so I was just sort of drawn to it and started playing the violin when I was in first grade.
Okay.
Just because I was curious, and I took to it right away and just have stuck with music my whole life.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. So I guess you played it more as part of a band, like an orchestra.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, it was more like solo stuff. But then, as you get older, that's kind of what you do with the violin.
Yeah.
Like once I got in middle school, I joined the orchestra, the band, that kind of thing. But by that point, I switched over to piano. Yeah. Because I just found it way more interesting. You could do so much more with it.
Yes, it's quite expressive. I guess the question that comes to my head right now is, when was the moment, because it seems like you've done this for a very long time, from being a child, when was the moment you decided to yourself that, you know what, I want to do this as a career, I want to do this for the rest of my life? Or is this something that, this career, was it something you just sort of fell into?
It was probably high school is when I started thinking about that. Because, college is coming up, and so you have to sort of start making that decision, and it was just something I was very good at. I had a natural aptitude for it. I liked it. My parents supported it, and so I just didn't see why not. I just wanted to keep doing it, and so.
Okay. Are you self-taught or?
So originally, I took piano lessons when I was a kid.
Yes.
And so that was all through formal. I had various teachers, and then eventually I went to Berkeley once I graduated.
Berkeley School of Music.
Yeah.
Incredibly famous, and this, even in England, it's a lot of I still know musicians like Adam Neely and the likes are from the same university. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
When was this?
So there's a lot of formal education, and then a mixture of wanting to learn other things, especially after Berkeley, and wanting to learn more. I just started to go more down like a self-taught route.
Wanting to learn more.
Yeah, or like other instruments. Like I was really curious with guitar when I was younger, but I never really wanted to take lessons. I just wanted to kind of pick it up with no like knowledge of it, because I wanted to approach an instrument from that angle.
Yeah,
because I knew so much about the piano. I wanted to play an instrument that I didn't know anything about, you know. So
okay. So
I did
it's
like
more
guess
like
more and use my ear more and that kind of.
Okay. Use your ear more. Is this for learning all these other new instruments? You're saying?
What's say again?
Because you said you wanted to use your ear more.
Yeah. So with piano, since I'd been learning with teachers since I was 10.
Yes.
You know, you'd learn like theory, and scales, like you learn all of this sort of intellectual aspects of music.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so
The
sometimes
theory, academic.
you kind of fall into thinking about it a lot. Whereas with guitar, I didn't know any of that. You know, it was a different, it was the fretboard. I didn't know notes or anything, so I had to just kind of like try things out and play what I liked.
Yeah.
So it was like being a whole different person with that instrument.
It's funny that you say that. I think this is a common thing that's been said in creative departments, where the more you know, in a sense, almost restricts you if you're not careful with how you use it. If you go in, these are the rules and this is how I go about this, etc., etc., it actually detracts from not even just the fun of it, but even the creative expression, how the quality itself in some cases.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember at Berkeley, a couple students that I'd met who had been there for a little while, they said that a couple of their professors were starting to tell them, okay, you know a lot now, so now you need to forget it all.
Yeah.
You've gone through and learned it all, now you got to let it all go. When they first told me that didn't make sense.
That's powerful.
Like you just said, I started to realize, these things kind of become a crutch. All these rules become a crutch.
Yeah.
You do have to let them go eventually.
It's quite funny as well, because you find like this is not even just in the music industry. I think like for most professions, I mean, including engineering, I mean, unless you're doing something like if you're building a bridge, stick to the rules. We don't want that collapsing down. But like for something like software, for example, they always have like rules like, this is how you do it, and like in a few months, months to it changes over time as well. So there's that whole mindset of so this is what you've learned. These are all the things, but these are just guidelines. The guys who do it the greatest broke all the rules. Well, they broke the rules. Okay. I guess in that case, because you talked about essentially wanting to learn something new when you went into the guitar. Did you sort of feel like you hit a wall of some sort, where it was like, you know what, I learned this an extra, X, Y, Z, blah 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 blah. I don't feel like I'm improving as much. Or is it more of a curiosity thing, saying like, hey, I want to see how far I can go. I still got this, but I want to see if I can, expand a bit more here.
Yeah. I guess there probably were times where I get frustrated with the how fast I was learning something, because I couldn't use I couldn't use like a theoretical understanding of guitar at all, so I was always forced to pick it out. And so sometimes that would get a little frustrating. But I never really felt like limited. Never really felt like I ran out of things to try. Okay,
so you never felt like you ever ran out of just you never felt like you weren't improving at any point.
No, I just kept trying more things and just messing around with it so much.
That's quite interesting, because a common thing that musicians, I would say, run into is that they call it the wall, where it's just like, I feel like my music isn't improving any longer, or I feel like I'm not as growing as fast as I want to. You're saying that you never ran into that?
Not with the guitar. Funny enough, I did kind of run into that with the piano.
Okay.
I think it was for the opposite reason, was that I kept falling into certain traps. Like, so if I look at the keys,
yes,
because I know the theory so well, I see the key of C. I see what keys I need to play. Like I see all these things that go with whatever I'm doing, and it's my brain keeps like insisting that I stay within certain limitations or play certain things. Whereas if I wasn't thinking so much, I might just like try something random that I hadn't done before.
Press all the notes.
It's like sometimes I feel kind of like I'm like restricted or like bounded by what I know on the piano.
Okay, that's quite. So I guess in a sense, it seems like what you're saying is one aspect of actually improving is letting go of what you learned in the past. Because it seems like what took you to that point, yes, it's good to do all these, to learn all these rules and learn all these guidelines, because it helps you get to a particular point. But to want to get to the next stage, it actually involves you dropping some of the, or well, at least learning when to utilize some of those previous points.
Yeah, and in fact, I think you should actually be doing it as you're learning.
Okay, as you're learning.
One thing we're doing with building blocks is there's 3 lessons in it. Every so often that I say, okay, now it's time for you to just write a song.
Sorry to stop you actually for a second. For those who don't know what building blocks is, do you mind explaining that to people?
Sure. So building blocks is our new app that teaches beat making and composition in a DAW style environment. And so it's just it's like Rosetta Stone for beat making. So
Rosetta Stone for not Duolingo. Duolingo is a lot more gangster than Rosetta Stone.
Right. It's Duolingo for beat making.
Duolingo for beat
nice. So it's, you go through the steps, you learn how to create drum patterns, bass lines, chord progressions, and you actually do it. So like there'll be a video in which I'll explain something, and then you'll have to recreate hidden songs that you can hear by ear. Right?
Okay, so I can see like there's some of that flavor from synthtorial being put into this, so for beat making and so on. Okay, cool beans. Yeah, sorry, please do carry on.
And so throughout that, as I'm teaching you, I give you various rules, just rules to help you learn, right? But throughout, I kind of insist that these are just for learning. They're just to kind of get you there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't rely on these all the time. In fact, every once in a while, I do what's called an experiment lesson, right? Want you to write a song without using them, and if you feel like you're stuck in them, I would make them on purpose, just to like maintain that relationship with the rules, like to prevent you from really getting stuck.
I see. So, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love Okay, that makes sense actually, and especially while talking from your own background with what you're experiencing this, it actually kind of makes sense. Like I guess in a sense it's kind of you learning from the mistakes, on your journey learning, and what you found as your pitfalls as you grew as a producer in the industry.
Pitfalls. I mean, plenty of them.
Okay, sure. Interesting. Actually, you know what?
Wow. But it was also, what it was mostly? It was the biggest pitfall was when you do something wrong or you make a mistake, and by which I mean you end up doing something you don't like, the music that you made, that you shouldn't get like frustrated by it. You should look at it as an opportunity to get better.
Experimental
I'd sometimes
mindset.
get real down on myself. So if I did something or made a suggestion, like here's a good example. Let's say you make a suggestion in the room. Maybe the artist is right there, or another producer you're working with, and you make a suggestion and they do it and it sounds terrible. Like my inclination was just to get like so down on myself about it. But those moments were just like perfect moments, because those moments stuck with me because I never did that thing again. Like I learned so much from that because it was such like a poignant failure. So eventually I realized, oh no, this is how I'm going to get really good at this. So just keep at it. Just keep trying things. Keep experimenting, no matter how much you learn.
Experimenting. Okay. I guess. That's. That's quite. No, there's a saying. I'm trying to translate it. It's in my language in Nigeria. We talk about like failures are not. The failure should not be used on the word failure. You should think of it as a rock that you chisel it down to make a sculpture of something that is beautiful. People always think of themselves as I'm small and I build myself up, and if I make a failure, I'm smaller again. But in actuality, what you are is you're a block. And your failures and learning from them is being chiseled to make you the sculpture, the beautiful, amazing sculpture that you are. So I hope that translation came through. I did freestyle, but yeah, I get me. So I guess in a sense, people should not be afraid of failures. People should be putting their stuff out there.
Especially with production. I mean, there's so many millions of little things to learn. There's just like so many little points of failure just because it's complex. So you gotta really just like that stuff. Be into it. Just kind of go headlong into it.
I guess that's a big question I have. Well, I guess also the a lot of the viewers might be having today is there is that. To be frank, there is that fear of putting your stuff out there. There's so much connection. We're all interconnected in this world, and you can get a massive reach. You have Twitch is like a massive worldwide megaphone to get your stuff out there. However, that comes with the other caveat that getting the feedback, making these mistakes actually does scare people. How as a producer, how did you handle that? I mean, I appreciate that it wasn't Twitter in your day and so on, but you know.
Right. Well, first off, I wouldn't put anything out there until I liked it.
Okay.
That was a big thing. Because, I mean, if I don't like what I made, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can still learn from feedback, but if someone likes it, it's not going to mean much to me because I don't want to make a thing that I don't like because it's not me. You know what I mean? So that was sort of my first requirement. I didn't show something to people until I liked it.
Okay.
Of course, if I ever hit a roadblock where I couldn't figure out how to make what I wanted, then I would like need help. But that would be more like taking to a specific person and get some advice, that kind of thing.
Okay. Specific person, like a mentor of some sort.
Yeah. Someone maybe I know whose approach to music or music I respect.
Yeah.
I could just maybe, it would almost be more of a conversation. I'm trying to do this with my music, but it keeps coming out this way.
Yeah. Okay.
And once I liked it, then I felt more about putting it online.
Yeah.
And at that point, the one thing I would say is that what would hold me back is, I wouldn't want to put something out there that turned out to suck, at least in other people's eyes. Because I was afraid of my like reputation, you know? I wouldn't want to be linked to a thing that sucked.
Really? You're afraid of that? Like, I take like the complete opposite of stance to that. So, well, not approach, I would say. Usually I'm just like, I throw it out there, whatever happens, I get the feedback and I reiterate on that, But this is for software, never for music. Like, I don't think I've ever, depending on what you're doing music, but I don't think I ever made music and been like, you know what? You guys give me feedback on the music. It's always be like, I made this, oh my gosh, this was so fun. It's probably a shit post of some sort, but it's like inside jokes that I enjoy, me and my friends and my loved ones, and we all get it, and we know that kind of thing. And yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, that's the way to do it. If you like what you did, just put it out there.
Yeah.
And because even if you get one little tip that helps you, then it's worth it. And you have to start doing that at some point anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
Unless you're just a pure hobbyist, then you can keep it all.
Okay. I guess in that case then, because I find like a lot of musicians, they start being the hobbyist and almost in a sense transition into that, going to doing it professionally. I want to ask you a couple of questions around this, which, well, I guess a lot of viewers who they want to make that transition, or they're interested in making that transition. I want to ask you about your experience doing this. You said you studied at Berkeley. Going into the industry, did you go straight into the music industry as a producer, a teacher, or so on? Or were you already doing that and just went to Berkeley to sharpen your skills? Or was there, the standard stereotypical, I got out and couldn't find, nobody was hiring and so on, I had to go years and so on. What was your experience?
I mean, I started working, I started as a professional musician when I was pretty young, because knowing how to play the piano, you could get hired to play parties and stuff like that.
Okay. And that's cool as well. You have all the kids like, oh my god, he plays piano, wow, he's so cool. And
then I started playing in bands in high school as well, so I was out in the world playing before I went to college, and I continued to do it while I was there. And I still wanted to play. I wanted to be a performer when I left. That's like all I cared about at the time.
Yes.
I had my own band, and then I would play sort of side gigs with just sort of random different bands around the area.
Yes.
And I was teaching at the same time.
Personal teaching?
Yeah, private piano teacher at the same time. So it was just sort of a combination. Making a little bit of money from performing, making a little bit of money from teaching, and just kind of like putting it all together. And that's what I did for a long time, was just doing multiple things. But at some point, sometime around when I moved to New York, was when I started to kind of realize that I didn't love performing enough to want to do it like full time for a living.
Didn't love performing. How do you mean? Because I imagine there was some aspect that you liked.
I thought I wanted to be like a touring musician.
Mm-hmm.
That was my big goal in life for a long time.
Traveling the world in the tour bus and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And I started to get there. Like the first tour I went on was with my own band, and we lost money, and it was more like a party. It wasn't even really like making a living. It was hard. And after 2 weeks, I was exhausted, but I still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I eventually got to the point where my last tour I did was with a major label artist. So she was like a new major label artist.
Okay.
And I was getting paid well. I didn't have to drive. Like it was doing a tour and feeling like I was really getting somewhere.
Professionally, yeah.
And that's the last one I ever did, because I realized I don't want to do this. Like that's when I realized I don't want to succeed at this, because I don't really like the lifestyle. I don't want to live in hotels. I don't want to sit around. I don't want to set up my gear and sit around all day waiting to play a half-hour show, an hour show, 2 hour show, and then break down and then drive for another 8 hours. I just realized, but then the musicians, a couple of musicians I was playing with, they've gone on to do it, but they loved it. All about it. So that was like that moment where I had a big aha moment.
This ain't me. That ain't me.
And I better stop now because I'm actually starting to get there. I need to change course.
Do you know what's quite interesting I find there is that, because you find a lot of people, whenever they start a career, they start anything, they're going down path and they're scared to make that switch, scared to make that jump, especially when they're starting to get success. There's a term we call the golden shackles, as it were. You actually start earning, and that's when you're like, what, this ain't me, I need to switch. Was that switch scary for you?
Well, at the time, I had started to get into more studio-based work, like a couple years before I quit that.
Yes.
The band that I was in, we had started to do it ourselves because one of the guys we had brought on, a new drummer, he had a studio, and so we just kind of started playing around with it.
Yes.
I found I really liked that.
Okay.
And so as I started to learn that, I want to work in the studio, that's at the same time that I realized I didn't want to perform anymore. So there was this other thing that I'd already started doing.
Okay, so you had your muse came and was like, bam. Did this is good there. That's cool. Yeah, to just make that switch on someone. Okay, that's cool. So essentially you'd already done a lot of this, like you had a background of gigging, doing a couple of shows here and there, so you already had a bit of the business side down. You just went to Berkeley for, I'll say, the education and heck, even more contacts, I guess, in some sense.
Yeah, my experience was limited at that time because I was a piano player. I played in some local bands in high school. I played, gigs around parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to expand, I wanted to leave where I lived. I wanted to learn more things. Like while I was at Berkeley, I learned as much as I possibly could. Like I took some classes on film scoring and like big band arranging. I just wanted to get into all because I wasn't 100% sure. I knew like performing was generally the direction I wanted to go in at that time, but I wanted to kind of get my feet wet.
Okay.
While I was there.
Okay. Just getting a bit of there. I guess in that case then, because you also mentioned like, you had a mentor and you'd come to them usually just for like feedback. Would you say that is necessary for an upcoming musician in the industry?
Kind of depends on what you're doing and your whole approach. Because some people are just really comfortable being self-taught and just they just find their way through. They're really confident in the direction they're going in.
Yeah.
And then nowadays they can use a lot of online tools to learn.
Yeah.
They need to learn.
Google is powerful.
Online courses. Yeah.
There's YouTube, there's Udemy, there's a lot of things you can go through. Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you need other people, whether you're bouncing it off them, or you're partnering with them, or your audience. I mean, other people have to get involved at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think you necessarily need a mentor.
Okay.
But it just depends on your situation. Okay. And if you've found a good mentor.
So you're saying finding a good mentor is an important aspect. It also sounds to me, I mean, this is me, searching for that tea. But in a sense, did you finds it hard to find a good mentor? Someone that you can say, like, I respect this person's opinion.
Well, I never really found just one person that I would go to regularly. It was more just, there's just people throughout my life that I would just gain some perspectives from.
Yeah, you learn from them. Okay. And that's what you would advise for people to go for. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so I guess when you asked earlier, should you be putting your music out for feedback, you should be getting ongoing feedback here and there from some source. It could be online, it could be someone you know.
Yes.
You should just be like making things and going out there and doing things.
Okay.
If you want to be professional. I guess that's the difference. If you're a hobbyist, then that's cool. You're just doing your thing at home. But if at some point you want to become professional, you just need to be like doing things.
And putting
music out or playing professionally, getting hired or making a website or whatever. You need to be like connecting with people in some sort of capacity.
No man makes it alone. The self-made man is a myth. Essentially. I imagine. Okay. That's just kind of crazy. Hearing all these little different aspects, because being into music, I'm into music, but more as a hobby. I do professionally. I'm from software engineering. So it's always interesting to hear all these, like, if I say parallels, or in some cases, how opposite it can be in some aspects. So yeah, it's I guess in some sense it's also quite mind-boggling because the aspect of putting things out there and connecting with as many people. I'd imagine right now, but so it would be a lot easier with all the tools we have from Facebook, with the internet. In your experience, now versus back then, did you find it a lot easier to connect a network versus now versus back then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with way the internet works now compared to how it did back in 2003 when I graduated college.
Yeah. 2003? Wow. Damn, you're old.
Yeah, so I think it's easier to find people and connect people. I mean, just with making my software.
Yeah.
Just finding people to do various things, whether it's developers, graphic designers, composers.
Yeah.
And it's just I find them whenever I need them. You can find good ones and musicians to collaborate with. I mean, it's all out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's just like, hey, bam, hey guys, who's out there doing? That's true. Actually, I definitely understand that aspect. Like, heck, even the way we met as well. The project is literally just a bedroom project. Bam, this is the office, guys. This is where everything happened. This is where and it's like, oh wow, hey, all these people are using this. Oh, I wasn't expecting these kind of numbers. What the hell? There is that aspect of like, this is really cool, but also it's really scary at the same time. But I guess that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah. We couldn't have done that back in the day.
No,
like because I think you posted on Reddit, right? It was just
yes, I did. Yeah.
Let me get some feedback here.
Yeah, and
it was innocuous, and then bam.
Yeah, bam. It's like oh shit, it's real now. But because I'm not an internet person. Like I use Facebook for like memes. I just have like those meme feeds and whatever. I don't use it to like, oh, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? Well, let me start updating people what they're doing. Like I'm like a perpetual lurker. I don't ever, So actually seeing this aspect of people connecting on the internet, that's actually been quite foreign to me. So it's actually seeing that aspect, it's quite amazing. It's definitely impressive. It's like, oh my gosh, I've just caught up with the 21st century and how people do things now. Yeah. I guess in that sense, because I want to understand how you did translation, because your career has spanned quite a lot of time, and in that time, the industry itself, the music industry has changed quite a lot. What are 3 differences that you would say that have changed a lot since then, from back then in your 2003 times to say now about almost 2 decades later?
I mean, the
from musicians, streaming
music.
Okay,
that changed everything. I remember
good or bad.
When I was, what's that?
The streaming, good or bad? Good.
I think it's good. I mean, I don't like how musicians make less money from selling recordings.
How do you mean?
They used to, because when I was at Berkeley is when Napster came. That's what changed it, right? That was the first.
Infamous.
Suddenly, people weren't buying CDs as much.
Yeah, I forgot the dude's name. Oh, he went to Facebook later on. Whatever his face.
Aaron something.
I don't know. He's on drugs all the time. I don't. That's what I know him for.
So that happened then, and so at Berkeley there was classes on how to become a professional musician, how to make money, and they had to suddenly start changing the curriculum because you used to be able to make a CD, sell the CD, and make a lot of money off it.
Yes.
That was one of a musician's revenue streams was actually selling their music, but that's not the case anymore.
Is it? I'm going to challenge you here because I was speaking with someone he's been a producer. He's done a lot of things over the years, and he said he was talking about the whole Taylor Swift debacle. Mm-hmm. How she pulled? I believe she pulled from Spotify because she said you get like 0.0001 pence, or I guess cents, per play on her songs, whereas if she played it on TV, it's like 40 £40 per play. But if you actually did the numbers for if you're streaming and you're getting for radio, it'd be like 2 million people listening in to your song being played for that entire length. But if you had 2 million streams of your thing, you would have so much more money than if you had 2 million people listening into your song. So if you had 2 million people listening in for your song being played, you get like £40. But although it is per play, it's very, very small. If you had 2 million of it, it amounts to much more than, say, 40. Would you say that this, it is that much worse now?
Yeah, I guess if you're comparing a stream to a play on the radio, where you make 0 cents. Technically, right? You don't get paid every time. Well, no, you do. I mean, you do.
No, you get paid. I do know, like, I think it's RSA or something. The rights that handles like musicians and royalties and just commercially for copyright. They do get, if they get notified, you can claim provided you sign up with them. So I didn't know about that aspect, but so you can make money, but you have to chase them up. Well, sorry, what were you saying in terms of your point?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you break it down far enough, I do think musicians don't make as much money selling their music as they used to.
Okay.
Like, I think it used to be overall, and I'm not talking about the major artists. They're fine either way. They're doing it.
Yeah.
It's more like as you're coming up. Because so I was like at the Nexus. All these older musicians would tell me, man, we used to be able to just make money. Like, you'd start, maybe you tour, and you could actually sell your CDs and make money. Yeah. That's just not an option anymore.
Yeah. But same thing he said, actually.
Things like merch and whatnot. But it's, I mean, music, I use Apple Music, but whatever, I use streaming.
Yeah. You're part of the problem.
Any music I want. It's too good for the consumer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
People use it too much and love it so much.
Yeah, it's so convenient, like literally.
It is what it is, so there's no point in getting upset with it, I guess.
Okay.
Though, to be fair, that's easy for me to say. I don't make my music. I don't make money off
music. You make the tools and the music to teach you all. Right. Yeah.
Maybe there's a musician just screaming at me right now.
I mean, I do know about, because like there's been a lot of talk in the past about how the music industry changed and how entire studios, entire businesses, entire music institutions just got left behind because they were thinking in the mindset of, oh no, we're still going to have to hang on straight onto CDs and so on and so forth. And they didn't adapt. I guess in your case, you adapted and made some changes.
Well, I mean, I ended up just not doing that for a living.
For a living.
I just because I kept changing my mind.
Side-dafted.
I wanted to be a performer.
Side-dafted.
Then I wasn't. Nah, that's not a problem for me anymore. And then I thought I wanted to work in the studio, so did that for a long time, and then I came up with the idea for the software. And once I started making that, I realized, this is what you want to do. This is what I want to do.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about software then. Where did the idea come from?
Well, so when I was, so I'd been working in the studio for a bit, for several years, and I was starting to get pretty good at the various different skills you need to produce, engineer.
Yes.
But I found that every time we needed a synth sound, we pulled up a synth. Yes. It would take forever to find exactly what I wanted. Whether it's because I was dialing through a big menu of presets, or I was trying to program it from scratch. Even though I had learned, I'd read a couple books, I'd been messing around with synths, I understood it on an intellectual level, but it would still take forever. So it would just like kill the creative process, and especially let's say I was working with an artist, maybe I was making a track for him or her. Yes. It was the flow would get killed at that point because I'm just like clicking through a menu looking for sound.
And it's like any day now, the juice is not going to stay forever.
And it was driving me nuts. The general advice, the books didn't really help. I understood synths, but it wasn't speeding up the process. And the general gist I was getting from other synth users was, you just got to play with them for a long time. But I was working now. I needed to be able to do this now. Yeah,
that's the same thing that I got as well, actually,
And don't get me wrong. I mean, to be really good at something, you have to work at it for a while. So I wasn't looking for, per se, a shortcut as much as a more efficient way of learning how to program a synth. Not way to like try to cheat my way into it, but like I want to be genuinely good at this. But it didn't make sense to me that there wasn't some better way to learn that could get you to there more efficiently. And so that led me down the path of trying to come up with some kind of app
actually taking that step to go and say, you know what, this is a problem I have. I'm going to go try and solve it, not just for myself, but for everybody. Well, you're a much better man than me. I took the route of, you know what, I'll just convince everybody to give me synths. share all your presets. No, I'm kidding. That's not what it's about. I'm too lazy to figure it out. How I just expand the catalog. but I see. I think, you know what? It's funny that you say that this is a common theme with everybody that solves a very, very big problem. Is that they initially had the problem for themselves, and it was frustrating. They had the problem for themselves, or they saw something that was already existing, and looked at it, and said, you know what, I can do this better. I can improve this in some way. And then they set out to solve it. And
and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
For many business, it's just solving a problem that either hasn't been solved at all or can be solved substantially better.
Yeah. How long did you work on I mean, we're talking about synthorial, your first venture into this. How long did you work on that?
So when I first decided I wanted to start creating a better way to, learn how to use synths, there was a few failed ideas. That was maybe like a month period where I was trying different ideas out. And then once I came upon the idea for synthorial, it was a 2-year period before it was released.
When you say failed, how do you mean? What happened that you defined it as failed?
It was so I guess fail. It was more moments. I'd have an idea. I'd start sort of working it out, doing a little research, and then I'd have I realized, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
Or it's not going to work well. Or this isn't going to kind of fit into how people use synths.
Okay, can you give us an example?
What's that?
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, okay, I remember one. I wanted to make, the idea I had right before synthorial was I wanted to make a little app where you could put in different music traits, right? So something like brightness or washiness, like an adjective you'd use to describe a synth sound.
Sound, really. That makes no sense unless you actually know what you're doing.
Well, so you just click the traits and it would tell you what to do on the synth. It was like a synth recipe app.
Okay.
So I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, what words do people use when they're describing their patches? I need to know that. And so I started lurking on forums, and I found that, no one uses any descriptive word. It was more like, how do I make this song from this song?
Yeah,
how do I make the sound from this song? Or they'd use names, like, how do I make a Hoover patch? They'd stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when I did that research, I was like, oh, this idea isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And then when that one failed is when I realized, well, if people don't actually really use words, what do? Well, they hear things. It needs to be an ear training app, and that was when it was like.
And you went one extra layer. Oh, that's cool. You went on an extra layer of abstraction. Yo, that's actually hard as well. Explains the 2 years.
Yeah.
So
because then I tried to learn how to code, learn how to make the app, learn all that stuff, create the curriculum, and all that jazz. So
okay, well, you've said a number of things on here. You said you spent 2 years working on it. So as you're doing stuff on the side while developing that. Okay. You also said that you had to learn how to code. You made that switch from going as a musician to coding. Wow, that's quite very. I think a lot of people, they get quite. What's what I'm looking for? Intimidated by, I'm a creative. I know nothing about technology, and it's like, oh, holy shit! I have this idea, but I can't make it.
Yeah, well, in coding, depending on what you're doing with coding, it's a very creative pursuit.
Hey, thanks. Somebody actually gets it. This is what I tell people. That coding is not, zeros and ones and binary. It is quite creative. There's a lot of design. And I find this is actually like why going to learning music production was like, just another like creative endeavor. So... Yeah. Okay.
If you think about production, there's so much technical stuff in there. So if you're a creative type and you're drawn to working in DAWs, there's tons of technical stuff there. So just because it's technical doesn't mean it's creative.
Yeah. Do you find that some of your production knowledge helped translate into your coding?
I think it probably helped. Just like all the time I spent with computers and music. In production. Synthesis, whatever. It helped. My mind was ready. I knew so much about computers, and I was comfortable. So I tried so many different software out. So it was like, I knew what to do. I knew what was right and what was wrong because of all that time spent in production. Yeah.
I think this is getting quite common as well because I talk with them or people within the synthCity community, and quite a number of them are programmers already. They know about programming, and I do know it's something that's coming up on the rise a lot more. Is the audio programmer. like someone who knows about like wavetable synthesis and actually does the algorithms and I don't know in like MATLAB or something to generate sound. So there is the rise of that. But it's quite interesting that you dove into this quite fearlessly, because IT and tech is something people are like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and so on,
Well, I remember I'd always been curious about it.
Okay.
Making apps. Yeah. So I said to myself, I'm just gonna try it a little bit.
Yeah.
See if this is something
just
I can
a little
do.
bit. Yeah.
Just like read a book on C++ and make like the beginning of the app.
Yeah.
And I just really like
it. I hope it doesn't crash.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope it doesn't, no memory leaks. It's not a bug, guys. It's a feature, okay? No bugs. 0 bugs. synthCity as well. There's no bugs in synthCity. Anybody who tells you otherwise is a liar.
That's a good spin. I like that. But then once I realized I liked it, then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Because then it's sort of self-driven. And when I woke up every morning, I really wanted to do it.
Yeah, you were driven by that motivation.
Yeah, but if I hadn't liked it, if I wasn't into coding, I probably would have never made it. Or maybe I would have found someone to partner with. I don't know. I just know
into coding or into solving the problem. Because I feel like there's a distinction. Because you said if you weren't really into coding, are you saying into coding or into solving problems? Into solving that problem, sorry.
Oh, into coding.
Into coding, okay.
Yeah, because I knew I wanted to solve that problem.
Yeah,
I needed it for myself.
Yes.
And once I came up with that idea.
Yes.
Sort of interactive synthesis ear training app. I was so in love with the idea. I remember at that time, I just wanted it to be in reality. I wanted to make that thing exist. And if it failed, that would have sucked. What I mean by that, if people didn't buy it or they didn't find it helpful, I would have been disappointed. Yeah. But I would still been glad that I'd made it and put it out there.
Because you made that journey, the journey mindset rather than the event mindset.
Yeah, and there's this thing
word,
that I made,
man, word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's a common thing as well. Like, you find a lot of people, and I'm not saying that I'm like the best at it, because I'm also, a culprit in this mindset sometimes as well. But a lot of people think in events rather than thinking in journey. And I think, this event, why haven't I gotten to this event yet? Why haven't I gotten to this? 1,000 plays, 100,000 plays, 1,000,000 plays, 10,000 CDs sold, versus thinking, let me have this journey of upping my skill in this particular aspect. Let me have this journey in solving this problem. Let me have this journey in expressing this idea, expressing this creative thing, expressing this bit of history for myself, and it's I genuinely believe, and also speaking with a lot of people who have run their various paths over time, not thinking events is and instead thinking in terms of the journey that you're making. That is the defining, that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you actually pushing forward towards whatever goal. So it's quite interesting. Time and time again, without fail, I see this, everybody who's done something of note, it's always, I was thinking about the journey. If I failed, it sucks, but I did something.
Yeah, and so if you're focusing on those journey, then you get to those events usually.
Yeah, you get to those events usually.
Because you're into the actual work, and then if you're into the work, then you're doing the work better.
Yeah.
And the better you do the work, the more likely you are to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Having a system. Oh, word, that's crazy. I guess something I have as a question then, in your journey from being, a kid doing piano gigs, birthday parties, to doing other gigs, to touring, to producing, to now making your own application, is there anybody of note that you worked with? So specifically with the music production side, let's talk with that.
A note that I worked with. I have to look back through it. Everything I did, like in production, it was always local stuff. Because I was doing that when I was in New York. So it'd just be like local musicians. There's never anything big.
Yeah.
So I never really got to that point where I was working with someone that you might.
Hey, look, it's Bon Jovi.
Never got there. I'd like to think that if I'd kept at it, that was the goal at the time, obviously, to get as big as I could. But it was just like with performing. As I got deeper into it, I really loved the work, but then there was something over here that I found interesting, and when I tried it, this is what I want to do. So it's kind of like a 3-step thing over to software.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty. It's also quite funny. Like I feel like in a sense, some sense, you and I have had like the opposite experience with this. In I started off with software, like pure software, and I'm like, you know what? But on the side, I actually do like making music. On the side, I actually do like a lot of like the creative aspects of like editing and like drawing, and I always did enjoy these things. But I mentioned this before. This saying that we have in Nigeria, which is first you become an engineer, and then you're gonna do what you want to do. So you go through the engineering route, and then when all the bells and everything and so on and so forth is set, then you can be like, okay, right there, these are the extra hobbies I want to do. Yeah. That's you know what. I'll add on to that. I think everybody, to some degree, has this kind of, they have these multiple facets to them. People aren't generally one dimensional. Say, hey, this is this one thing I want to do. In a sense, everybody's like it sounds like one of those cliche, what's the word, motivational speak words, but a multi-potentialite, in the sense of they have multiple things that they're if they put some time into it, they'd be competent at it, and they're pretty good, and it's just making that switch.
Well, I think the hard thing is to find something that you have aptitude for and you like, and you can make a livelihood.
And you can make a living, yeah.
I think that was like, for me, I was good at playing. I was a really good piano player. I was good in the studio, but I never really figured out how to make it into a full-time livelihood. It was always something I was making money from, but not enough to ever be this thing that I was just doing. That was my goal, but there's always like a piece missing. Like I remember with performance, if you really want to be a gigging musician, and in production actually, you should also be out there in the community. Just like talking to people, hanging out. Because a lot of times it's combining of, you got to be good at what you do, but you also kind of have to be in the right place at the right time, in the right conversation at the right time, just for someone to have the idea of hiring you or working with you. And that was the one thing I was never doing. If I look back on it, I'm glad I am where I am. I love making software, but looking back, that's the mistake I made. The reason I never really fully made it as a performer or in production was because I wasn't out there like socializing around it, or being in there. I was just focused on the skill, which probably explains why I now create teaching software. And so that was it. That's why once I started making the software, I really felt like I'd hit my thing, because it was playing my strengths, and I knew I could make a living off this. I knew I could do it, and synthorial launched, and it became full livelihood, and I've never looked back. So I think that's the thing, is you got to find the thing that not only you're in love with and have an aptitude for, but you also can make a living off of.
That's powerful, and that's also hard to nail that. That actually, in your case, took you how many years? 15, 20 years to nail to get.
I released synthorial in 2013, and I graduated high school in 1999, so I guess if you say when I graduated college. So I graduated college in 2003, and I launched, so 10 years from when I left school to when I actually found my thing that was truly my thing. Yeah,
so I guess, hey, that's a bit of advice for you guys who are watching this. Patience, and trying, being open-minded, doing experiments in here and there. Yeah, it's gonna take you to the direction that you want to go. Well, that's powerful, incredibly inspiring for people who are running this role. You know what? I guess one question that comes to mind from all of this is, what bits of advice would you give to someone? Or imagine you're right there. You're right in front of you is this kid. He's young. He's hungry for the industry. He wants to get out there, but he has no idea. He's inexperienced. But he knows what he wants, so he wants to try and get out there. What advice would you give such a person? What's the biggest bit of advice you would say to this person to not to guarantee, but to help them in their journey as a producer?
I would say if everyone's situation is different, right? Like if you read 100 success stories, they're all different.
Yes.
So you should take advice, every single bit of advice you should take with a grain of salt. Especially the ones that are like, you have to do this in order to succeed. Yes. That advice you gotta be really wary of. And so instead of thinking of advice as, I have to do this in order to succeed, it should be more like, that's interesting. I never tried that approach before. I wonder if that'll work with me. maybe I'll give that a shot.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. Because I remember I got real caught up with things like that. Like I'd go to like a workshop, a convention or whatever, and I'd listen to some interview with some really successful producer or performer or whatever.
Yes.
And you would say that you got to do this, and I would get just so caught up in that I have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Stay with doing it that way for so long, ignoring the fact that it actually wasn't really working for me. Whether it's because it wasn't working with my personality or the specific sort of path I was going down.
Yeah.
So all that advice, all the stuff you learn should just be stuff to try. But you got to you got to pay attention to what's actually working for you, what actually works with what you really want to do.
Essentially, what you've described right now sounds like it's like a scientist, someone who's experimenting, who goes in there, has a hypothesis of what they think. They try some things, they see how it works. If it works for them, good. If it doesn't work, okay, I see what I learned from it. Reiterate, do again, do better, and so on. So it's really going with an experimental mindset to things rather than a rigid, bam, this is the way to go.
Yeah, just keep trying stuff. Be as ADD as you can about it. Just don't be afraid to kind of bounce around.
Hey guys, be as ADD as you. Don't take the pills.
That's coming from someone, I have a very ADD style mind. I had no choice but to be that way. I was like a former producer, thought for that kind of thing. But it ended up working out for me in that sense. So I just kind of kept bouncing around until I really took off. A certain path.
Oh shit! I laughed so I'm choking myself. Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's amazing. Oh, yeah. No, that's some powerful stuff. I guess this is kind of advice that you wish people had. I guess it's the kind of advice that you wish that you had before you started off.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Though, I mean. So if I had sort of known that in the beginning, maybe I would have succeeded as a performer, or fully succeeded. I was doing all right. Yeah. But maybe I would have become
it sounds like you're doing okay.
And then I'd be miserable right now because that's not the right fit for me,
Yeah,
So it's like, it's one of those things. It just sort of worked out eventually. I kind of figured that out late in the game when I also found a thing that I really wanted to do. So,
I guess
a bit of luck there.
On the topic of the industry, and so finding your way and figuring things out. Obviously, yes, it's nice that people train and experiment, but in a sense, you have to ride trends as they happen. Apple Music rode the trend of Napster, so does Spotify rode that trend of after Apple Music, rather than just paying per stream, and so on. Generally, people ride trends within industries, and this is where you have the people who are the most successful. And in your sense, you probably rode some trends during your career that let you thrive or survive. I'd like to ask you, from your understanding, what trends are happening right now within the industry?
With technology in general, like creating music?
Actually, no, let's start with the technology and then actually with the music itself, the music industry. But yeah, with the technology.
I mean, I think it should start with like what you actually like. So if let's say you're a producer or you're an artist, you want to make music. You should start with figuring out what you want to make, like specific what sound do you want to make, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of a genre or whatever. Yeah, just you got to know that, and then if you are a person who's listening to what's out there now, if you're participating in modern culture, you're not a Luddite. Or you're not really into classic music, older music.
Yeah. Guilty.
Then you'll probably find that what you're going after is part of current technology. You know what I mean? So if you're listening to music that's now, and you're finding yourself influenced by music that is now, then you're going to start wanting to make music like that. And nowadays, I mean, everyone's making music in their bedrooms. And a lot of it is all about sound. It's not like there's some chord progression out there that we can make that's gonna make a big hit for us.
Whoa!
Now it's about the sounds you're
145. Amazing.
So I would think that's kind of the biggest trend, and it's been going on for a long time. I think like more like hip hop and electronic music sort of brought in the trend where suddenly sound designs become so important.
Yeah,
like a track can be really popular simply because of one little sound that is happening in it. It can be a tiny little blip, but it's got so much personality in it
Yeah.
But it's just captivating to listen to.
Sound
I think that's
design.
something you have to be cognizant of with music now.
They're saying the trend is going towards sound design. It's all trending towards sound design.
Yeah.
Okay, word. Well, yeah, guys, you gotta better up your game with your tracks. It's all about sound design. You can't do, 152. What's those? You can't do any of those anymore. No. No tryhards. You gotta have that. I'm gonna send you this video. This amazing video of this guy, playing chords, and he talks about what it's like to being a jazz musician. And everybody's all about, I have this crazy D7, 9 sus chord with a 5th and a 9th and a 27th, and it's just like stuff like that. And he's like, so yeah, I gotta throw those in.
Yeah, I went through a period like that.
We can't be friends anymore.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, maybe if I could get as complex as I can, I'll come up with something new. But no one cares.
How did it work out?
Unless you figure out a way to use that to make something really interesting sounding, then it's great. Like, it doesn't really matter about how complex or simple your chords are. It's just, are you making something interesting? But it sounds interesting.
That's the saying. I was talking with someone from the community, and he was saying a lot of sound designers, also a lot of producers, they produce for other producers instead of producing for the listener.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
The average listener doesn't care. I almost swore. I almost say doesn't give a hoot, but he doesn't care. The average listener just enjoys. Listens to music and they enjoy. They're like, hey, this feels good. Hey, I'm doing some rave. Hey, my booty's shaking. They're thinking more about that rather than, oh my gosh, wow, how did he get that sound design and that sound effect? They can feel it. I think that's the key thing. Focusing on what emotion that you can invoke within the listener versus how cool, how complex is this academically, technically. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's easy to fall into that trap where you wanting to impress other musicians, other producers.
Oh, check me out.
Yeah, or like you're sitting there, you're making music, you're not thinking about it, and you come up with something that you really like, but then you notice, I don't know, you're using like a bass, like an FM bass sound, something that's been done a million times, and then suddenly you get in your head and you're like, well, no, FM bass has been used a million times. I need to do something different, and that's where you're going wrong. Well, no, if that FM bass sounds awesome on that track, and the music sounds really good to you, then it doesn't matter if it's been used a million times. Just
okay,
make something that's good.
Oh, that's it's quite funny. Because I used to teach music as well, previously, and you find that there's the children, when you taught children versus when you taught adults sort of had like this, especially they were a bit more competent in the instrument. They had this framework of how things are meant to work, versus a child just like, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to make this work. Hey, I don't have a bass. Why don't I just use my guitar and down tune that, and put some kind of effects on it to make it fat, and ends up doing that. And it's not quite like a bass, but actually it gives a different flavor, And if you just have the mindset of, okay, bass plays bass, this does that, and so on and so forth, you don't ever expand or just find these other cool things. So,
it kind of sort of takes us back to that whole experimental thing, in the sense where you're not thinking so hard about what rules you should follow. In this case, it's like, what would be considered current and trending, or what would be considered, impressive to another producer. Yeah. Instead of thinking about that, you're just doing what you think is best for the song. Yeah. Like, James Blake.
James Blake?
Yeah.
No. So, again, I don't follow popular media, so I don't know too much about it, what he does. But you know what? Let's bring it out. James Blake. I'm going to do a quick Google right now. James Blake. His face is familiar. No, it's not. It's just he's a very common-looking face in England. I got what? He looks like, I can walk into Tesco's and see like 5 of him with the exact same haircut as well. Is it?
Yeah, he's a pretty normal-looking guy.
Okay, right? Sorry, go on.
His first 2 albums, particularly his first album, are real experimental sounding. Like, he really does some interesting things with his production. And sometimes his voice sounds like it's really affected. Sounds like almost like intentionally lo-fi. We'll come to find out that he the reason it was like that was because he'd be working on a song, right? So he'd just be on his piano and he had like a tape recorder or whatever, like a little mini recorder, just recording it so he could listen back to some ideas. And then he likes the song, so he goes to record it in the studio, but he can't get the vocal performance he wanted. When he listens back on that, shitty recording he did at his piano, he loves what he did with his voice. So he started using those actual recordings.
Are you serious?
You're right. So it's lo-fi. It's not like a good mic or anything like that.
Yeah,
so he'd process it, try to get the piano out, and then he'd put that over the full track.
Yeah.
And it ended up being this awesome, unique thing because he was just prioritizing the performance, like what sounded best. And he just kind of made the production work with it and ended up also coming up with kind of a unique production sound. So here's a guy who just wasn't afraid to just do whatever he thought was best for the song.
Do whatever the hell he wanted.
I think 99 people out of 100 would have been like, well, no, I can't use this recording. Other producers will think this is crap, that I'm a terrible engineer, but he did what was right. He was best for the song. He went with the best possible vocal performance. So that's a good example of just like, do what's best for the song and forget everything else.
Okay. Oh, that will man respect for that. Actually, for people to do that, essentially, people being brave, being courageous, and going out to do what sounds good to them, what they enjoy. Okay, that's great. That's Hey, more wisdom for everyone. Yes. Yeah, Joe, you have given us so much wisdom today. You've given us a lot of information. Thank you very much for that. We're getting towards the end. I have a number of questions, quick fire questions actually, just to see, learn a little bit more about how you think and what you do and what you like. We'll go from there. The key thing for this is you're not allowed to think. If you think, that's cheating, okay? You're meant to just say first thing that comes to your mind as much as possible. You can say a word, yep. You can also say a phrase, but it has to be the first thing you say that you think about. No filter. You with me? Yeah. Excellent.
Right. Okay.
Right. To do some of these, I'm just gonna put. I'm gonna do just a few just quick questions to get your understanding, just so you understand the format. Right. You ready? 3, 2, 1. What's your name?
Joe.
What's the color of the sky?
Blue.
How many fingers am I holding up?
2.
Deadmau5 or Skrillex?
Deadmau5.
Oh, that's some shade. Why?
I just like his music better. I don't dislike Skrillex, but I don't know. I like Deadmau5 better.
Okay. That's a mad shade. Auto-tune or not?
What's that?
Auto-tune or nah?
Oh, not.
Nah. Why not?
If used sparingly, it's cool.
Okay.
Like Cautious Clay, for example, he uses it a little bit, and it makes his voice sound a little cooler. But if used to replace talent, then no.
Okay.
If you can't sing on pitch and you need auto-tune, then it's a terrible thing.
Oh, word. Okay. So people should essentially just go out and learn from there.
Yeah, you be able to sing, and then you can use it if you just like the effect, production approach. Okay.
Oh, that's powerful. That's quite a common thought process. Right, you heard it, guys. Stop, auto-tuning your shitty vocals from doing this stuff. Go make something that's good, okay? Get some singing lessons. Right, this is going to be fast-paced. I'm going off track again. Right, childhood inspiration.
It's Zach Perlman.
Zach Perlman?
This is the first thing that came to me. When we talk about learning how to play violin, Itzhak, Itzhak. I think he's Austrian.
Oh,
he's a famous violin player.
It's Zach Perlman. Oh, his name literally has, hey, it's Zach Perlman. Hi, guys. Oh, okay. He looks like a violin player. Damn. Oh, yeah. He looks like...
He's considered one of the greats. I remember I heard a cassette tape of him playing, and I wanted to play the violin. I remember I was 6 or 7 or something. I had that memory, so...
That's quite odd as well. I mean, for a child, it's the very nerdy. Oh yeah, because people are like, oh, I want to be like Bruno Mars. I want to be like Taylor Swift. I want to be like this random American violinist from for whenever. Okay, cool. Music genre you're embarrassed to admit that you like. You listen to, but you're embarrassed to say.
I don't know if I'm embarrassed by anything.
Okay. Nothing.
There's got to be something. I'm sure there's something. I'm really trying not to think about this, but nothing's coming.
Oh, you know, if nothing comes, that's good. It means that you're not biased towards any type of music. You're just like free flow. You know, hey, you know, I'm the same. You know, my playlist can go from this anime opening one to death metal very, very quickly. So it switches very quickly. So fair enough. I guess going on to our last two quick fire round questions. What's the most important thing to you for music production?
Just making music you like.
That you like.
Like that you enjoy. Like. Make something that you're just, I'm so into what I just did.
Yeah. Shitty, like even if it's, you know, it's badly sound designed, but it's badly mixed, badly everything.
Yeah, don't care. It could be really trendy, it could be old school, it could be common, it could be bizarrely unique, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got to make something that's very you, because it's going to be more genuine and that's going to connect to people.
Oh, word. Okay. Now, absolute final question, flipped on its head. What's the least important thing in the music production process?
The least important in the production process?
Oh, you're trying to think. You're cheating.
I know.
You're cheating.
Okay, my first inclination was to say the opposite of what I just said. Was like the least important thing is to like make what you think you should make.
Okay.
That's the least important thing. But that's kind of a cop out answer. It's the opposite of my last thing.
Hey, if it's what comes to heart, you know, we roll with that. Okay, if you have to think about it, since we have time, if you have to think about it, what would it be?
I think chasing trends, which I think a lot of people probably think that's bad advice, because from a business perspective, you know, if you want something people want to listen to, then you got to chase trends. But I don't know. I'll put this: there are some people who are good at doing that. They can like chase a trend. Yeah. Like the first person that comes to mind is John Mayer. When he first came out with all of his like super mainstream poppy songwriter stuff, he was a massive hit. John Mayer, right? He's like a pop star. Yeah. But then he went on, now he makes like blues music.
Well, he looks a bit like Orlando Bloom. Yeah. He's like, not Orlando Bloom, sorry, Johnny Depp. I feel like he could be
reading an interview with him where he said he never liked making that music. He just likes this whole blues trio thing he does now. That's like rock, blues, guitar. That's what he always wanted to do. Yeah. Either he's full of it and he does like making that music, or it's true and there are people out there like him that can just like manufacture whatever music they want to make.
Oh, you're on two people's hit list now. Yeah. Skrillex and John Mayer.
I think that's a miserable process to like sit down and just try to like make what you think is going to be popular. Yeah. I don't know. That just always used to give me a headache. I hate it. So just, you know, try to make something genuine.
That you enjoy authenticity.
Chasing a trend,
You know what? I'm going to add something on top of that from a business perspective. I think simply tracing trends, you know, it's not. If anything, I'll say that's the wrong way to go about things. If you have a lot of time and resources behind you, yes, tracing a trend might work. But if you're the little guy, what you should be trying to do is carve out a niche for yourself. A small niche that nobody, you know, the guys who are chasing trends and are fighting for the spotlight in the trends, you know, you let them fight over there and you just have your niche that you enjoy and other people also do enjoy it as well. In some sense, when you think about it, synthesizers, you know, synthesizers is pretty niche. Everybody's all, you know, there was the whole guitar era and there was the whole, you know, piano has been a thing for, you know, centuries now. I don't know if there's, I mean, 80s, I guess. You can say 80s were the synths, like everybody was into synths, but I don't think it was ever that big a boom as like guitars. You know, that's still a niche, you know? Synths? But synths. Like, well, hardware synths. This is like, you know, I'm thinking of like, as a business analogy, for the musician who is trying to go out there, who's small in his bedroom and so on, rather than trying to compete with Taylor Swift for pop, if he or she is competing for my mixed K-pop, African tribal death metal jazz band for that small niche of people who actually like that combination fusion of stuff, then bam, you know, it's enough for you. It's not enough of a market for you. And also, if you're very lucky, you might end up creating something brand new that you're just dominating and everybody knows and everybody loves you for it. So, you know.
Yeah, I think that's great. And in worst case scenario, if it doesn't succeed, you still did this very specific thing. Like you just like took your, like we were talking about, you know, it's okay to bounce around and try different things out. So you probably learned a lot about yourself and your music. You learned some techniques. Like you're going to get something out of it. And why go up against these gigantic stars when you can try and carve out a niche? I think that's a great idea all the way around.
Yeah. Word. Well, thank you so much, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Everybody else who's going to be watching this, I'm going to like spice it together later on. Before we finish up, I do want to say, Joe is doing a giveaway of two, not just one, but two of his products that he's created. synthorial, the audio, the interactive sound design training application, and Audible Genius, another interactive application to teach beat making. synthorial, how much is synthorial?
$129.
129. It's valued at 129, but you'll be getting it for free. One of you guys will get it free. There will be a link somewhere here where you can sign up. You don't have to do anything, none of that bullshit. Oh yeah, like this video, share it with your friends, kind of gay. Just do whatever the hell you want. If you like the video, don't get me wrong, if you like the video and do like it, do share it. It helps with the algorithm. But it comes down to you. Just sign up and it will be picked at random. The two winners will be picked at random. Yeah, coolio. Likewise as well, the pricing for I missed out on that as well. The price for Audible Genius. What is the price structure for that?
So Audible Genius is going to be a monthly subscription, $14.99 USD per month. And right now it has the building blocks course, but down the road we're going to add other types of courses. We want to just kind of cover the whole computer-based, DAW-based music creation process, sound effects, the whole 9 years.
Excellent. Right, two lucky people. One for 120, valid 120 but for free. Another valid one for $14.99 per month, but lifetime access to the course. Sign up within the link that was somewhere within this video, whatever platform you're watching this, be it SoundCloud you're listening to, or YouTube, or heck, even LinkedIn, etc. I haven't decided, and we'll go from there. All in all, Joe, do you have any closing remarks?
Just, I think what I already said like 1,000 times. Just like do your thing.
Do your thing. Deadmau5 is better than Skrillex.
Yeah.
John Mayer's pretentious. Oh, guys, tweet it at these guys as well. Get this guy in trouble.
Yeah, thank you, Zeno. This was great.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Right, too.
All right.
That's the end of the video. Take care. And cutty cut.